Hey lovelies, welcome to today's video, which is just going to be where I currently am at for the Sophie's Revenge ship from Reaper Bones. So, as some of you will know, I purchased this a little while ago. I've got it for a good price on eBay. It's a really great ship. It comes complete with cannons, your masts, the wheel, a nice figurehead and stuff like that. It's a really nice ship. However, there were a few things which I wasn't overly impressed with. One of the ones was it didn't really seem to be set up for being able to be playable over its multi-levels. So initially when I got the ship, what you actually had was this rear deck here. You could lift the whole of that up and then you had just the top deck flat as it was. And then you lifted the top deck up and all the walls down to this lower deck came up with it. Now, you can just about see some cannons protruding, okay? And the difficulty is if you lift up that whole deck and take the walls with it, as you lift the walls up, the cannons are going to go do that and like displace. So I didn't want that. So I've kind of been a bit heavy-handed with it, and I've pulled it apart, cut it up, and glued it down. So obviously the masts are magnetised, which I think is absolutely fantastic feature. But the problem I had was you couldn't like put stuff in the cabin without it. As you lifted up the cabin, there's a chance that it would take everything with it. So the first thing I did was tried to cut and pull away the top deck here, which is what I've done. So I've cut this away and that gives me this, and I've glued these walls down. In hindsight, I'm thinking maybe what I should have done was try to cut it flush with the top of the windows, but essentially I've got this, okay, that I can literally just lift on and off if I want to do something, especially with our D&D campaign. If we want to do something inside the captain's cabin, then we can just lift this off. The other thing is to negate the cannon being knocked all over the place as you lift off this deck. I have essentially pulled the lower walls away from this deck, and I couldn't do it all the way round, but I've done this so that I can literally keep the cannon in position as stuff gets lifted off, because otherwise you can see, if you look there, you can see the channels where basically the tabs for this wall would have sat in, but lifting it up, as I say, would have knocked off the cannon. And then the last thing I did was I got some foam board and placed it down, and then drew the outline of the bottom of the ship, because obviously you've got this here which denotes that there's the cargo hold, and I've just basically used some dollhouse flooring and some as I say, some foam board. I've just cut it out, and that is our bottom deck. So we now have all levels playable on the ship for our D&D campaign. So that's kind of where we're at with regards to what I've done to the boat since I got it. And does tend to go back reasonably easily. For play on our game. Now, and then this one at the rear. Now, the other thing that I needed to do was I needed to test the polyvinyl to see what sort of primer I could use, because I'd used some primers on some Reaper miniatures previously that just made it get like sweaty and sticky. For those that have painted the polyvinyl resin, polyvinyl plastics before, you'll know what I'm on about. And I found that the best paint has been the Citadel miniatures spray paints. That's been the best one to minimise sort of like the reaction that you get. Otherwise these can be quite sticky depending on what paint you've used to prime it with. So I've used Chaos Black Spray on that. The masts themselves are a hard plastic. The masts and sail heads are a hard plastic. And then the toppers here are polyvinyl. And these are the things that I've just tested, including the cannons, and the cannons have been fine. The ship's wheel. So the best results I've had have been with Citadel's spray cans, and that's kind of where I'm up to at the moment. I will try and get some painting videos out, paint some cannons and one of the masts, so that you can see my process for that and what I've done, and then we can I'll get a couple of rattle cans in so that I can spray the boat and then start painting the boat proper. But yeah, that's where we're up to with Sophie's Revenge. Hopefully you'll join me in the next video. Alright, take care, bye bye.